Hello everybody, welcome to the next session of Coding Aptitude. You have already watched the three sessions of the same topic and you have learned the basic concept of average in the first lecture. The next lecture there was a problem of weighted average and we tried to explain you the weighted concept of weighted average. In the next lecture, means in the previous session with Mr. Subhash, you learned the coding aptitude, that is a combination of aptitude and coding, and the chapter was change in average. In today's lecture, I'm Prasanna and I'm going to explain you the next concept of change in average, and I would be explaining you the next concept of uh, the basic concept of the coding. And as you can see on the your screen, as you can check on your screen that this session is of coding aptitude, and as there is a beautiful quote, first solve the problem, then write the code. Correct? This is a quote by John Johnson. I'm going to do the same thing. First, what I'm going to do here is, first what I'm going to do here is, in the part one of my session, I'm going to share a problem with you, and I'm going to solve that problem by using a conventional approach, conventional way. So that is the reason, as you can see on the screen, I have clearly written approach one, conventional way. After that, I'm going to explain you the code for the conventional approach. Then I would be going with the generalization of this code, so that you can use this code into other problems like this. Then I would be going ahead with code 2, that is optimization of the earlier code that I'm going to do. And finally I would be like helping you in testing the for the other inputs, so that we can select a random series and we would put it into our code and we can test it. In part 2 of my session, that will be streamed in the next day, that is will be available immediately after this part. In this I'm going to explain you the smart way, and you really need not to require to solve the problem with n number of steps. You can do it in a fraction of seconds by using. If the next three even numbers are added into the series, then what is the new average? Are you getting my problem? Are you getting this problem? Initially, there are seven consecutive even numbers, and the initial number is not given to us. Means they haven't said that the initial number will be 4 or 18 or 48. We really don't know what is the initial number, and the average of these seven consecutive even numbers, random consecutive even numbers, we don't know, that is not given in the problem, is 10. And if next three numbers are added to the series, what will be the average? So first of all, I would explain this problem, I would solve this problem on the board with the approach one, that is the conventional approach, and then we will go ahead with the code. So what a common student comes up, what a normal student with comes up with the very simple. We are doing this since our 7th or 8th standard. Whenever there is an unknown, we assume that unknown as x. Correct? So x was our friend, x is our friend, and x is going to be our friend. So to start with this solution, any normal student, any common student, what he is going to do is, it would be better if we could remove the PPT uh, from the screen, so that I would be able to use the entire board. So just look at it. What is given to us? There is a series of numbers. There is a series of even numbers. There is a series of even numbers, and the average of these seven numbers is 10. Am I right? This is given to us. Hopefully the board is visible to everybody. Now, whenever we don't have the unknown values, or we have unknown values, some unknown values with us, we have to assume the initial number, the first number, as x. You know what? This is the approach that a common student, normal student, is going to think in this way, that he will assume the first number as x. Now, what will be the next number in the series? You have to increment the number by 2, because the initial number is x. So the next consecutive number in the even series will be x plus 2. Am I right? So the first number was x, the second number is x plus 2. What what will be the next number? The next number will be x plus 4. Are you getting my point, everybody? Ajay sir, the board is visible till the end. The next number in the series will be x plus 6. So look at this. This is the first number in the first term in the series. This is the second term in the series. This is the third term in the series. This is the fourth term in the series. Like that, there will be next term x plus 8, and this is going to be the fifth term in the series. Board is visible. Can I write to the extreme right? Okay, I will write the next term below. What is the sixth term? The sixth term will be x plus 10. And the next, that is the seventh and the final term, is x plus 12. So what a normal student, a common student does, I'm going to tell you a very simple way to solve this problem, but later on I want you to understand the basic logic, the basic math. I would like to enhance, or I would like to you to stress upon your basic mathematical sense and skills, and then we will go to the simple approach in the part 2. So instead of saying that it is possible to solve the problem in a very simple way, I really know that still we can have another option where we can solve it in a very simple manner, but I want you to really understand the basic mathematical approach, its coding, and then we will go to the simple smart way. So what I have done here is, I have assumed the initial term as x, and I have added the 2 into the every next number, and finally I have reached this. Correct? So what a normal student is going to do is, as we know that the average is always equal to sum of numbers divided by total number of numbers. So what all are the seven consecutive even numbers are that we have with us? The first is x, now incremented by 2, incremented by 2, incremented by 2. The series has come to the seventh term, where the number, seventh number, is x plus 12. So what a common student now is going to do is, he is going to add these numbers into each other. Try to understand this. X plus this. Every term, each and every term is added. Correct? So what we will be getting, x plus x plus x plus x 7 times. That means we have 7x with us. You are getting my point, everybody? Plus, now we have to add 2 plus 4 plus 6. Correct? So what is actually happening here is, 2 plus 4 6 plus 6 12, 12 plus 8 20, 20 plus 10 30, 30 plus 12 42. So 7x plus 42 divided by 7 is equal to 10. Am I right? So this is a unknown number. This is the sum of all the constants. Remember my word. This is the sum of all the constants we have obtained by adding 2 in the previous term in a series, in an even series. Correct? Divided by 7, which is the total number of numbers, and is equal to 10, which is the original average given to us. So now let us find out the value of x. It's very simple. It's going to be 7x is equal to 70 minus 42, which is nothing but 28. Correct? Am I right? Look at it. 42 plus 8 50, 50 plus 20 70, so 28. So finally the x is 4, that is 28 divided by 7. Now once you get this 4, you can imagine that this number is 16, correct? So the first term is 4, the second term is 6. You can go on adding these numbers into the series, and the final number is 16. I hope everybody has understood this problem till this point. Let me just reiterate again. What is given to us? We have a series of even numbers with 7 elements into the series, or 7 numbers into this series. As we really don't know the initial value, I have assumed it as x, as a common student is going to do. So x plus 2 plus x plus 4 plus x plus 6, I have added all these numbers and I have got 7x plus 42 divided by total number of numbers is equal to 10. By solving this, I got the first number as 4 and the final number as x plus 12, that is 4 plus 12, 16. Now, what is the next task we have to do? What is the next calculation we have to do? It is asked that if we add three more numbers to the series, what does it mean? If I add 18 and 20 and 22 to this even number series, what will be the new average? Correct? What will be the new average? So you need to understand one thing. Look at this. Till seventh term, or I would prefer to write in this way, from first term to seventh term the sum was 70. Am I right? As the average was 10, 10 into total number of numbers is 7. So from first term to seventh term the sum was 70. Now, from 8th term to 10th term, that is the three numbers added to the series 18, 20, and 22. In this case, the sum becomes 60. Am I right? Now, don't add these numbers into each other, not required. The three terms are 18, 20, 22. So their center value is 20. Just do 3. Just do 3. Because 20, 20, 20, 2 less, 2 added. Plus 2, minus 2. So this sum is going to be 130. So, from the first term to 10th term, after adding three numbers into series, the sum has become 130. So, new average will be 130 divided by 10, that is 13, and this is your answer. And the change in average is going to be 3. Initially, the average was 10, new average is 13, that is, the average has increased by 3, and that is fair because you are adding numbers more than the average number, so the average has increased. Now, some of you may say that, sir, this is not really not required. Yes, I know this is really not required, but still I have explained this so that a common student will be able to understand how does this problem has been solved. Now, what is the easier way to solve this problem? Is it really essential to calculate this x in such a way? Not required. We can skip this step. You have to remember one thing. Whenever there are odd number of numbers in the given series, for example, if there are three terms as it was here, if there are three terms, 1, 2, and 3 terms, the average value is always the middle value. The average value is always the middle value. If you apply this logic here, we have got 7 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We have 7 terms. Means the fourth term is going to be the average value. What does it mean? This fourth term, that is x, the fourth term, that is x plus 6 is 10. This is very crucial. You all have to understand. Whenever there are odd number of numbers, like 5 numbers are there, 7 numbers are there, 9 numbers are there, the middle number, the center value is always equal to the average value. That means in this case, initially there are 3 numbers, Finally, there are three numbers, this 6 and this 5. So this middle term, the center value, fourth term, is equal to average. So when I write x plus 6 is equal to 10, I directly get the value of initial number, that is x, as 4. Are you getting my point? So the first method, first approach to solve this problem was very conventional by using equations and unknown variables. We obtained x as 4. If you really don't want to go into this way, you can do it directly by using a very basic common sense in mathematics, that whenever there are n number of terms and that n is odd, means there are 3 terms, there are 5 terms, there are 7 terms, in that case the center value is always going to be the average value. Using that common sense, I have calculated x directly. Are you getting my point? I hope you have understood the mathematical calculations and the final answer, and two methods of calculating the initial numbers. Now I would like to explain you the code for this particular solution, so that you will be able to understand the C language as well, basic C language as well. So let's go. I would request Ajay sir to bring the IDE on the screen, and let me just be seated so that I would explain the code line by line to all my viewers. So let's go. Okay, so let me just give the control for this so that I can operate from this screen. Okay, all right. So my dear friends, this is onlinegdb.com, correct? I have logged in into this, I have signed up into this, and I'm using this. So thank you for the developers of online GDB, because it is helping all of us to learn. I have also signed up. You can check. And now I would go with the first code. Now look at it. Let us go ahead. Basically, as you know, I have used this ST, standard input output, as a header, correct? Now this is void, which is very common, and let me be very open with you. I'm not going to tell you the basics of C language in this session, because at Shikuyaa we would be covering a dedicated and a focused session of for the beginners who haven't ever come across C language. We would be giving a separate course for such learners, such beginners, to learn C language. So I'm presuming that whoever is watching my session right now will have basic idea about C language. So this is the first ever code. Look at the fifth line, which I have highlighted here. I have declared some variables, rather specifically some integers. That is, the first is original average, that is 10 in our case, correct? Next is total number of numbers. I have said only numbers over here. That is total number of numbers that has been given. In our case, the total number of numbers are 7. The next value that we have to declare here, or give input here, is new numbers to be added. That means initially there were 7 numbers, and now we are supposed to add 3 more numbers to the series. So look at the problem here, correct? Look at the problem here, given to us, that is, the initially the average was 10 of 7 numbers, 7 even numbers. So original average is going to be 10, total numbers are going to be 7, and new numbers which are supposed to be added to the series are 3. So what I have done here is, as you have already seen in the solution, that we have to find out that initial number, that is x. Are you getting my point? That initial number, that is x. Now the CSUM, you need to understand this CSUM. As you have already seen, we calculated 42 here, 42 on the board. That 42 was the sum of constants. So that is the reason I have used CSUM over here. Now, what is the new sum? As you can see on the left part of my board, that we calculated the sum 130. This particular part 130. You can check on my other part, left side of the part. Below average is equal to sum upon n. You can watch that the sum of this new sum of all the 10 terms is 130. So that is the reason I have used this variable new sum. The next is new average, that is the new average, and finally the change in average. I have put a colon to complete my sentence. Now what I'm doing is I'm allowing the user to input these values into the program, correct? So look at it. I have used printf as we do it usually. Enter the original average which is given in the problem, which is 10, correct? So let me just tell you that the original average is given to us is 10. Next, as you can see here, next I am highlighting all these 6 lines. The first is printf enter original average. Then I have scanned that original average and that is being saved. Next is enter the number of numbers originally. Right now we have 7 over here. Next is number of numbers to be added in the series. That is, in our case, we are going to add 3 numbers in this series. So it is given there. Next, this is very important. Now, you all have to understand one thing. This part of the code, 12th to maybe, look at it, 12th to 17. This is very crucial. I would like to request Ajay sir to get me on the screen again so that I would be able to explain which part I have written in this code from 12th line to 17th line, correct? So I would like to explain this to everybody. So my dear friends, just focus, just focus on this part now. Look at it. What we done is we have added these x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6, x plus 8, x plus 10 and x plus 12 into each other to get this terminology. Are you getting my point? 7x plus 42. So instead of doing this, what I have written, I have done in my code, I have directly used the other form. Like I'm going to write over here. What I have done is I have written in that code. You can look at this 17th number, 17th line. Look at initial number, that is for this x. Initial number is equal to, probably board may be visible, is equal to, initial number is equal to original average. This is very important. Original average minus c sum. Now what does I mean by c sum? That c sum is actually addition of the constants into this, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. So I could have written the code in this way, that I would have asked my user to enter these codes, these numbers manually, and I could have added. But as you know that the code has to be something which could be generalized. The code has to be executed. The code has to work for all the other test cases, similar test cases as well. So to avoid this, what I have done, I have defined that formula. Initial number is equal to original average. Let us go to the code again. Initial number is equal to original average. Look at this initial number that we are supposed to calculate, and that was actually x. As you know that initial number was x. So just for your understanding, let me write here that initial number is equal to x. Even you can comment into that code as well. That is also possible, that you can add the comment. You can add a comment here, that is initial number is x. Maybe there is something wrong with the spelling. Initial number, yes, we have got a local this thing. So initial number is x. I'm writing x because on the board I have used this x. After that, the original average, correct? Original average is equal to 10, that is given to us. Next is numbers, correct? Numbers that is given to us are 7, correct? So you will be able to understand this, what I am writing. So if I would go ahead with this, right? Let me also write here, let me put a comment here. That is, what is C sum? C sum is equal to the sum of constants in the series, that is constants from the assumed numbers. Are you getting my point? So look at this. Now let us try to understand this loop over here, right? So as I am supposed to add these constants into each other, I have used this loop. To explain this loop more, I would go to my PPT again, where I have a table and where I have tried to explain the loop. Just wait for few minutes. Let me just first explain. Let me just first explain the code, and then we will go to the PPT. So everybody look at the IDE first. Look at here. What I have done is I have initialized that C sum is equal to 0. That is, initially the sum is 0. Now when I am writing the for loop, I have declared this integer here itself. I haven't declared that I in my original this thing. I have not declared I here to avoid or to follow the protocols. So because otherwise it will utilize some memory, and that is not the way to write the code. So I have declared integer I is equal to 1. I have initialized from 1 itself for the value of 1. I is equal to 1. Then I less than numbers. We have 7 numbers right now. So this for loop will be executed from 1 to 7, correct? And then I plus plus. Next is C sum is equal to C sum plus I into 2. This is very important. Everybody try to understand. Every time I have to add next number into the earlier number to make a sum. For example, x plus 2. Correct? X plus 2. Let me just write here for your understanding. Look, what we are doing here is x plus plus x plus 2. Am I right? So what the final value here is, it will be 2x plus 2. Are you getting my point? So when I will take this 2 common, that will be x plus 1, correct? So instead of going into this kind of thing, let us try to understand what I have done. I have done, let's go to the table. Let's go to the table now. So look at it. Here we have a table for loop 1. So what we are doing is, look at this, C sum is equal to C sum plus I into D. The difference between these two terms is 2 here, correct? So every time this difference has become 2, or this difference is 2. So whenever the C sum was 0, I was 0 and D was 2, the C sum was 0. Next, when the I has become 1, the D is 2. So I into D becomes 2, and the sum of first two number becomes 2. That is, x plus 2 have become 2. Next, when the I becomes 2, the difference is 2 itself. 2 into 2 becomes 4. So 4 plus initial sum is 2. That is, C sum is 2 plus 4. That becomes 6. In this way, we have incremented the I from 1 to 6. Correct? 1 to 6. And finally, we have got the sum as 42. So even if we would say that we are going to give the input as 9 or n, this loop will go till the n, and then finally we will get the value of csum, whatever it may be. In our case, the csum is 42. So let's go to the code again. You can see on the screen now. Check. I am writing this. Let me explain again. Csum is equal to 0. Csum for loop I have initiated for I is equal to 1 to I is less than numbers I plus plus, and then the loop gets complete over here. Now we are calculating initial number. As you can see that as I have written the formula on the board, the same formula I have used here. Initial number is equal to original average into total number of numbers. So original number is 10 and numbers are 7. So I am getting 70 minus C sum is 42, as we have seen in the slide, and also you can check on the board as well. The C sum is 42. So 70 minus 42, that is 28, divided by total number of numbers, that is 7. So initial number we will be getting 4. Now let's go ahead with the code, and finally I would print I will show all the outputs to you. Now this is very essential. Look at it. There is another for loop that I have used here to calculate the new sum, correct? Because as you can see that our first term is 4 and our last term is 22. So I'm going to add 4 to 22, all these terms into each other. Now there could be different approaches, there could be optimization into adding these numbers into each other, but what I have done is I have used this new sum here and I have equated it with the initial number, that is the first term is 4, correct? Now look at the for loop. I have initiated the loop at 1, and what I have done is I'm going to go to 10 terms. What I mean to say by, I would be incrementing this by some term till numbers plus new numbers. That is, initial numbers are 7 and new numbers are 3. That means this loop will be executed for 10 terms starting from 1 to 10. Now look at the formula. New sum is equal to new sum plus initial number plus I into 2, because every time we are adding even number into the terminology, correct? So let us go back to the slideshow where I have given a table, so that will help you, that will really help you to understand how the values of new sum are changing, correct? So look at this slide, look at this slide now. This is new sum is equal to new sum plus initial number into plus I into d. So what is happening now? Initially when the I was 1, the I was 1, thus new sum was 0. But we are going to start our addition from here, that is from 4. So when I becomes 2, in the next term, the addition goes to 4, addition becomes 4. So next is when I is 3, I into 2 is 6, correct? So new sum becomes 10. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So in the same way, the new sum goes and adding the numbers into each other, that is 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus kind of. So look at this, 4 plus 6 is 10. 4 plus 6 plus 8 becomes 18. So 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 now becomes 28. In this way, the new sum goes on increasing, and the last final value of new sum is 130. I would like to go to the code again. What is happening in this for loop? Because if you observe the code carefully, we have used two for loops over here, correct? Now in this case, what is happening in this new sum goes to a pointer, a particular value, a particular pointer, a particular memory location, where it goes on adding, it goes on increasing gradually after every increment to a new sum. So initially the sum was 4, then it became 6, then it became 10, then it became 18, and the final value of sum that we are going to use is available at the end of the loop. Now look at the next. What I have done is new average is equal to obviously new sum divided by numbers, original numbers plus new numbers added, correct? And you can check this formula on board as well. Just to for your clarification, I would like to write, as we have calculated on the board as well, that the new sum is 130, correct? So divided by total number of numbers after addition of numbers, that is 10, correct? So 130 divided by 10, so that it goes to 13. The same thing we will be getting the new average over here. And what is the change average? Change in average is equal to new average minus original average. Done. So what I have print here is I am printing CSUM because I just wanted to understand, while writing the code I wanted to understand whether my calculations are going right or not. Even if it is not required, you can remove this from your code. This is really not required, but for the sake of understanding, let us write it as it is, correct? Then I have printed initial number, new sum, 130, new average and change in average. So let us execute this code now. I'm going to run this code. Now let us maximize this. Enter the original average, that is 10, 10. Next, enter the numbers of number originally. We have 7. Then enter the number of numbers to be added in the series, that is 3 numbers you are going to add. Then it is asking for difference between two consecutive numbers, that is 2. Here in our case it is 2. In the next code I will explain you why this is required, because we have to make it generalized. When I enter, I am getting everything. Look at it. The C sum is 42, initial number is 4, new sum is 130, new average is 13, and change in average is 3. Correct? So whatever we have done, the code is correct. We are getting the proper things here. Now let's again come into the code. Let me just explain you why this is required. Enter the number of difference between two consecutive numbers. In this problem, we have given that it is a series of even numbers. But it is possible that in some other problem, they will tell that there are 4 consecutive numbers with a difference of 5, of difference of 6, whatever it may be. We really don't know. So in order to make this code more generalized, as you can see, let me go to the next code. Look at it. What I have done is I have written C sum is equal to I into 2. Am I right? Yes or no? I into 2. In the similar way, in the next for loop, again I have used new sum is equal to I into 2. So instead of hard coding this difference between two terms, what I have done is I have I have used another integer, that is d, and I have scanned that as well. Look at it, look at this, correct? So there is a small change in the code. Instead of writing I into 2, I'm going to write I into d, so that the code is now generalized. This code has become more generalized, so that we need not to assume that this problem is of even series only. Now if you can change the difference, that the output of the code can change. Am I right? So let us run this code as well, as we have done it earlier as well. This 10, 7, 3, and now after generalization, it will ask us to give the difference to enter. You are getting all the answers as it is. Are you getting my point? Now, just to explain this problem in more, or for more test cases, I am using this part here. Like, just imagine that there is a series of 3 numbers, and the numbers are 1, 2, and 3. What is the average? The average is 2. Am I right? Everybody, are you getting my point? The average of these three numbers is 2. Let's go ahead. Let us take five numbers, that is 1 2 3 4 5. What is the average? The average will be 3. You look at my cursor. Average of these five numbers is 3. Am I right? So if I add next number, next two numbers in this series, that is if I add 6 and 7, what will be the new average? Now look at the center value will be the average. So the new average will be 4. Are you getting my point? Everybody, are you getting my point? Please try to understand my point. If I have got 5 numbers with me, the average is 3. Now if I add one more number into the series, that is 6, the average will shift from 3 to 3.5. If I add one more number to the series, my average will be 4, the center value. So can we test this code? Can we test this code with these values? Let us try. So how many numbers are there? There are 5 numbers. Look at me. There are 5 numbers. The original average is 3. Correct? And we are going to add 2 numbers in the series. So let me just write for your understanding. Chalo, let's look. How many, what is the original average? I am going to write here. The original average is 3. Original average is 3. What, how many numbers are there? How many numbers are there? Numbers are, sorry, numbers are 5. Numbers are 5. How many numbers we are going to add? That is the new numbers, correct? Here is this variable new numbers. We are going to add 2 new numbers to this, and we would be using the difference, that is the d, as 1 here, correct? Everybody getting my point? The original average is 10. Numbers are 5. Look at, sorry, original average is 3. Look at this series. I am highlighting this again, 1 2 3 4 5. So the original average is 3. Numbers are 5. New numbers are 6 and 7, and difference is d is 1. So let's execute this code for this inputs now. So original average is 3. Number of numbers, original number of numbers are 5. Enter the number of numbers to be added in the series. There are 2. Difference between is 1. So let's check whether this code is correct or not. Yes, this code is perfect. New average is 4. Change in average is 1. Initial number was 1. Absolutely correct. So this code is absolutely perfect, and you can use this code to any series with difference of d, original averages, whatever it is given to us, and you can use this code. I hope you have understood, you are able to understand. But my dear friends, what I have done here is I have optimized this code, or even you can optimize this code. I'm not saying that I have optimized. I did not wanted to use this particular one. This I just want to avoid this loops. So what I have done in my optimized code here, let me just show you. So I'm opening this code. Now look at this code. What I have done is I have done a small change. I have done a very small change in this loop. In the earlier code, I have used a for loop. Instead of that, I have changed a different method to calculate this. What I have done is, as you have seen on the board already, that the terms were, look at the screen, the terms were x plus 2. So what was the first term? The first term was x. What was the second term? What was the first term? The first term was x. Am I right? What was the second term? The second term was x plus 2. What was the third term? The third term was x plus 4. What was the fourth term? That fourth term is x plus 6. And actually this fourth term is the average value, because whenever there are odd number of numbers, the center value is always the average value. So I'm not bothered about these remaining terms. So instead of going into a for loop, how did I optimize? I optimized in this way: x plus 6 is equal to 10. So x becomes 4. It's very simple. But when we are supposed to generalize this code, we have to use some logic. What I've done here is I tried to calculate the nth term, that is the term which is the center value. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is the center value into this? Fourth term is the middle term, correct? Fourth term is the middle term. Just imagine if I would have eighth term as well and ninth term as well. So what was the middle value? The middle value was 5. Am I right? So that is the n I am calculating into this code. What I have done here is total number of numbers plus 1 divided by 2. So if there are 7 terms, the center term will be 4. We have 7, correct? We have 7 terms. We have 7 terms with us. So let me write here. We have 7 terms here. So 7 plus 1, correct? 7 plus 1 and divided by 2. So 8 divided by 2, 4. Fourth term is the middle term, correct? So I calculated n, that is what is the center, what is the middle term. How much, what is the middle term exactly, value of middle term. And then I calculated here middle term is equal to n minus 1 into 2. So look at it. Here for given numbers n is 4. So 4 minus 1, that is 3, into 2, that is 6. So I am getting middle term as 6. So initial number is equal to original average 10 minus middle term 6. Are you getting my point? Everybody just try to understand. N is the center number. What is the center number? Then middle term. What is the value of middle term? N minus 1, that is center value minus 1 into 2. And initial number is equal to original value average minus middle term. So in this case, just look here. In this particular case, the original average is 10 minus middle term is 4. Sorry, middle term is 6. So we get 4 as our initial number. Are you getting my point? You can check this again and again while watching this video. If you have got some doubt about this particular logic, I will explain in my next session, where I am going to use a very simple approach to this. Correct? So now I do not require this formula to calculate the initial number. That is absolutely not required. Again, I am using another for loop. Even this for loop is not required. You can have n number of optimization ways to calculate the new sum and new average. Correct? Now, even if I run this program, I would be getting the same output as we have got in the earlier one. I hope you have understood the code as well as the method which we have used to solve this problem. I would request Ajay sir to bring me back to the board so that I would explain the smart way to solve this problem, and then we would I will meet you in the next session of mine with the code. So let's go. Now I'm going to explain you the smart way to solve this problem. I hope you have understood this everything. Now let's try to understand the smart approach. What is happening actually is when we are dealing with a series which is in the arithmetic progression, the number is always incremented by a value d, that is difference d. So let me just explain you with a simple example. Let's take 2, 4 and 6. So what is the average of these three terms? That is 4. That is the center value, correct? So if I add the next value into this series, that is 8, the average shifts from 4 to center value of these two numbers, that is 5. So what has happened? It has happened that when I added next number in the series, the average incremented by 1. Average incremented by 1. Please observe. When I add 10 to this series, now the total numbers become 5. Total terms become 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the center value is going to be the average. You are getting my point? The center value is going to be the average, that is 6. So in a nutshell, if initially the numbers are 2, 4 and 6, the average was 4, correct? And if I add two more numbers in the series, the average has increased by 2. Average has increased by 2. Similarly, if you take an example of 1, 2, 3, initially the average is 2. If I add another number, next number 4 to this series, the average becomes 2.5. That is, the average has increased by half, 1.2. So what happens actually here is, in arithmetic series of odd numbers or even numbers, the average increases by d by 2 when you add one number. What is d? D is a difference of two numbers, two terms, two consecutive terms. For this series, this difference was 2. For this series, for even series, the difference was 2. So 2 by 2, that is 1. So when I added 8 into the series, average increased by 1. When I added two numbers, the average increased by 2. So n number of numbers. Let me repeat once again. For all the arithmetic series, all the series in arithmetic progression, if you add next number in the series, the average increases by d by 2, and here the d is nothing but difference between two terms, consecutive terms. And if you add n numbers like this, you have to multiply this particular d by 2 by n. So in our original problem, it is given that they have added three next numbers to that series. What was the difference? The difference between two term was 2. 2 by 2 becomes 1 into three numbers, that is 3. So instead of solving all these mathematical calculations and all, you will be able to find the answer directly. 3 into 1, that is 3. So change in average is going to be 3 plus 3. So new average will be 13. Correct? Now you can use this formula, n, that is number of numbers being added, into d by 2, that is difference between two consecutive numbers divided by 2, to any problem of this kind. Are you getting my point? I would request you all to watch this video again and again so that you will be able to learn the basic approach to the problem. Then the code, initial code, generalized code and optimized code. You all can remove the another for loop in the code on your level, and you can share your code with us, comment your code into our comment box later on. Correct? We are just trying to bring something innovative to you by this series coding aptitude. In this we are aimed to teach you aptitude as well as C language, maybe Python in the later stage. Correct? Once you all will be convenient, you all will be familiar, you all will be good at C, we will go ahead with the Python as well. So we will teach you all the coding, all the aptitude problems by using Python language. So initially it's about C. So I would like to request you to share your feedback on this initiative, share your comments into the comment box, and watch this. If you have any doubts, you can post it in the comment box. I will explain the code for this in the part 2 of the session along with another problem. See you for the time. See you again. Thank you so much for being with us. Subscribe to our channel YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Shikuyaa, Shikuyaa. That is very important. Also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. Got it? So thank you so much. Watch and learn. Keep watching, keep learning. See you again.